Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us this morning. My name is RJ Steenstra. I'm the President and CEO of the Toronto Port Authority, owner and operator of Billy Bishop Toronto City Airport. I would like just to start this morning by acknowledging the incident that took place at LaGuardia last evening. We send our deepest condolences to our partners at Air Canada for the loss of their crew members. And of course, our thoughts are with the passengers who were injured. Airports, airlines, and all partners work tirelessly to ensure safety at all times. So when these incidents happen, it has a tremendous impact on all of us. It is my pleasure this morning to welcome you here today and to recognize our distinguished guests. The Honourable Pravmeet Sarkaria, Minister of Transportation, the Honourable Peter Bethlenfalvy, Minister of Finance, Premier of Ontario, the Honourable Doug Ford. Opportunity is not just a moment, it is a mandate. When we recognize potential and act with purpose, we transform strategic vision into measurable impact. That is what brings us together today, a shared commitment to recognizing opportunity and advancing a strategy that will deliver lasting benefits for our city and for our region. For more than 115 years, the Toronto Port Authority has been the cornerstone of Toronto's waterfront. As well as owning and operating the Marine Port of Toronto, our organization played a foundational role in the very site that we're standing here, infilling the landmass and building what is now Billy Bishop Toronto City Airport. In fact, we gather today in one of the original airport hangars that was built in 1939. Today, we continue to steward these critical transportation assets, connecting Toronto to the world while also supporting economic growth here at home. Our vision for Billy Bishop Toronto City Airport can best be described as transportation reimagined, and it is grounded in three critical pillars: innovation, excellence, and community. We believe that progress in aviation must translate into tangible benefits for people and businesses we serve. This means expanding connectivity, responding to population growth and rising aviation demand, protecting access to northern and remote communities, strengthening tourism and trade, and embracing modern aircraft that are cleaner, quieter, and more efficient. These priorities are not aspirational, they are already in motion. Over the past decade, the Toronto Port Authority, together with our airport partners, has made significant investments in innovation and critical infrastructure to ensure that this airport continues to deliver on its promise. The opening of our U.S. pre-clearance facility just 2 weeks ago is a clear demonstration of that commitment to enhancing the passenger experience while also strengthening the airport's economic contribution. Billy Bishop Toronto City Airport is a vital asset for Toronto and for Ontario. It serves as a key gateway for tourism and trade. It supports life-saving care by serving as a base for Orange Medivac flights. It creates thousands of jobs and fuels billions of dollars in economic activity. And it continues to be our responsible neighbor, investing in initiatives such as our electric ferry and our ground run-up enclosure to reduce environmental and community impacts along the waterfront. But leadership requires looking ahead. While we have made meaningful progress, there is more we can do and more we must do to secure the long-term future of this airport and maximize its value for the city and for the region. Today is about taking another step in that journey. Before I invite our distinguished guests to speak, I would like to take a moment to thank Nicholas and Antoine Parpalardo and the team at Stolport for their generous hospitality hosting us today. Stolport has a deep and enduring history at this airport. Their father, Victor, started City Express here in 1971, and the family has been a proud and active part of this aviation community ever since. I would also like to recognize and thank our terminal partner, Newport Aviation, our airline partners, Porter Airlines and Air Canada, Orange, and the entire airport community, whose collaborations and commitment to excellence make this airport award-winning and truly exceptional. It is now my pleasure to introduce Minister Prabmeet Sarkaria to say a few words. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, RJ, for the warm introduction and for all the work that you've done, and also thank you to the team at Newport as well, and Jen, for all the work that you've done to get us here today. It's wonderful to be here today at Billy Bishop Airport in Toronto alongside Premier Ford, Minister Bethlenfalvy, and PA Grey-Wall. We're here with some exciting news for Toronto and for the province of Ontario. Under the leadership of Premier Ford, our government is protecting Ontario by investing in transportation infrastructure that will drive economic growth across the province, including right here in Toronto. And we've already made major progress. Our government has invested billions of dollars to support Toronto's transportation infrastructure and keep people moving. We finished construction on the Gardiner Expressway more than a year ahead of schedule, saving drivers 22 minutes per trip and saving Ontario's economy $273 million. We opened Line 5 Eglinton and the Finch West LRT, which are now moving tens of thousands of passengers across the city each day. We helped purchase new subway and streetcars for the TTC. And we reached a new deal for Toronto that includes a framework to upload the Gardiner Expressway and Don Valley Parkway to the province. And our work is not done. Billy Bishop is one of Ontario's busiest and Canada's busiest airports. It's a critical hub for regional and international travel and supports essential services such as Orange across Ontario. Every year, millions of people travel through this airport, and we believe that it can play an even bigger role in meeting the needs of our growing province. Ontario's population is projected to reach more than 20 million people over the next 25 years. Airports like Billy Bishop have an important role to play in supporting that growth and keeping Ontario connected. Thank you, and with that, I'll turn it over to my colleague, Minister Bethlenfalvy.
Well, good morning, bonjour tout le monde, and to everyone assembled here today, all the great workers and people who support this great airport. Before I begin, I just want to, there's a rumor going around that it's someone's birthday today. Is that correct, Rob Benzie? Is that, yes it is, okay. Happy birthday, young man. Hey, Premier, why don't we go a little easy on Rob today, just on his birthday. Thank you, RJ, for those comments and for hosting us today. And thank you, Premier Ford, for your leadership and your vision for Ontario. And thank you, Prabmeet Sarkaria, Minister of Transportation, for your leadership. Boy, you're doing incredible things right across the province, moving us on highways and transit right across the province. And I love the fact that you got the Gardiner construction a year ahead of schedule. I think that's made a lot of people happy. And of course, Hardy Gruwell, our great MPP for Brampton East, thank you for being here today and delivering, in part, announcements like we're announcing today. As we all know, the last year has been marked by significant change in the world around us. And while our province has been meeting these challenges head on, we need to recognize that Ontario does not operate in isolation. Over the last few weeks, we have seen our fellow provinces announce record deficits, hike taxes, and cut services. Yet in the midst of economic uncertainty caused by tariffs, global geopolitical instability, and supply chain pressures, our government continues to deliver on our plan to protect Ontario and create a province that is more competitive, resilient, and self-reliant. Our pragmatic approach, anchored in the fiscally responsible and prudent management of Ontario's finances, is now more important than ever. Our plan to protect Ontario includes pursuing opportunities to modernize programs, improve efficiencies, reduce red tape, and ensure taxpayer dollars are being used responsibly to ensure that Ontario has the fiscal capacity to protect the province today while building a stronger economy for generations to come. Our government is focused on making Ontario the most competitive jurisdiction, not just in Canada, but in the entire G7, by continuing to attract investment, encourage economic growth, and support job creation in this great province. And as part of our plan, we are investing in the most ambitious provincial capital plan in Canadian history. And that is how we protect Ontario. And that is what today's announcement is about. The Billy Bishop Airport is a vital transportation hub for Ontario and Canada. But its role is even more important looking ahead into Ontario's future. We will continue to accelerate and invest in strategic priorities, critical technologies, and key infrastructure to support a growing economy and keep people and goods moving to meet the province's future needs. Together, we are building the province we want tomorrow, and a more competitive, resilient, and self-reliant economy, so Ontario becomes the best place to invest and do business in the G7. Now, I look forward to sharing further details in our 2026 budget this Thursday, March 26th. I'll now pass it over to our leader, the man who has a vision for the province's economic growth and job creation, Premier Doug Ford. Thank you.
Well, first of all, good morning, everyone. And before we begin, I know, RJ, you mentioned it, but I'll mention it again. I want to acknowledge the devastating collision that took place at LaGuardia Airport late Sunday evening. My thoughts are with the families of the loved ones of the two pilots who were killed, and I'm hoping for a full recovery for all those who were injured. And now, I'd like to thank you all for joining me today, alongside Minister Bethlenfalvy and Sarkaria and P.A. Grewal, which is Prab's right-hand guy, right? Champion. With RJ, CEO of the Toronto Port Authority, and some of the industry leaders who keep our province moving. As President Trump's tariffs take direct aim at Canadian businesses and workers, our province has a plan to protect Ontario. We're building a province that is more competitive, more resilient, more self-reliant, so we can stand up to tariffs, economic uncertainty, and whatever else comes our way. Across Ontario, we're cutting red tape, removing duplicative permits and reporting requirements, streamlining approvals, and keeping taxes and fees low. These actions are saving businesses $12 billion each and every single year, and 1.8 million working hours every year that is being reinvested into more jobs and bigger paychecks. We're breaking down internal trade barriers, building new pipelines, rail lines, airports, and seaports, so we can find new trading partners and rely less on old ones. By creating the conditions for growth, Ontario has attracted more than $213 billion in new investments and created 1 million new jobs over the past 8 years. As part of our plan to attract investment and protect Ontario, our government is also doubling down on our more than $223 billion plan to build, which is the largest plan of its kind in Canadian history. We're investing in roads, highways, bridges, transit, airports, education, and more, so we can create jobs, grow Ontario's economy, and invest in world-class services and infrastructure that workers and families depend on. Which brings us to today's announcement, which will support our goal of expanding and modernizing Billy Bishop Airport. Our government will soon introduce legislation to take over the City of Toronto's role in the tripartite agreement that governs the airport's operations. And we will move to take ownership of the city-owned lands in the airport in exchange for fair compensation, so we can extend the runway to accommodate jet traffic, upgrade terminal building, and improve access to Toronto's waterfront. Following consultation with Indigenous community partners in advance of construction, our government intends to declare Billy Bishop Airport a special economic zone to streamline approvals while maintaining strong safety and environmental protections. Our plan will help Billy Bishop Airport realize its full potential. It will reduce pressure at Pearson International, increase competition, and bring cheaper flights and options, more routes, and more convenience to the millions of people from across Ontario who use this airport every year. And let's be clear, this airport isn't just used by people here in Toronto or even the GTA. It's a major hub for travel from across the province, linking Toronto to Thunder Bay, North Bay, Windsor, Ottawa, Sudbury, Sault Ste. Marie, and Timmins. An expanded Billy Bishop Airport will provide even more convenient travel options for people from across Ontario and the U.S. Whether they're coming here for a conference, to catch a sports game or concert, or just visiting friends and loved ones. And by expanding the airport and allowing jets to operate, we can connect Ontario to even more destinations across the country and around the globe. This is how we stand up to President Trump, by taking every opportunity we have to grow our economy, support workers, create jobs, and attract investment. Expanding Billy Bishop Airport will do all these things. By expanding and modernizing the airport, we can support $8.5 billion with a B dollars in annual economic activity by 2050 and create 23,000 good-paying jobs in our construction sector alone. That's on top of the jobs that would be supported in tourism and aviation sectors, all while attracting new investments and improving our connectivity here in Ontario and across the world. Take one example. Since December, our government has been leading the charge to have Toronto selected as the new host city for the Defence, Security and Resilience Bank. As we compete with cities across the world to host the bank, we need to have the transportation infrastructure to support the bank's operations. By expanding Billy Bishop, we can put Toronto on par with global cities like London, Chicago, New York, or Paris, all of which have at least 2 major airports. We can help Ontario compete and succeed when it comes to attracting global institutions like the bank or new investments from global companies. It's an incredible opportunity for our province, and we can't afford to miss it. We're going to keep working with the federal government and our partners here today to unlock the airport's full potential. With an upgraded airport on the waterfront, Toronto and Ontario will be able to compete with world-class cities across the globe, supporting tourism and business travel and creating thousands of new jobs for Ontario workers. Thank you, and may God bless the people of Ontario. Thank you.
We will now take questions from the media. Media present can form a line and ask their question through the microphone. As a friendly reminder, the format is 1 question and 1 follow-up. Please state your name and your outlet before your question.
Thanks, Hannah. Jeff Gregg, Globe and Mail. Hi, Premier. Hi,
Hi, Jeff.
Just wanted to ask you the obvious question that the opposition and other people will bring up, which is, if you're bringing in Bill 5 to designate the airport as a special economic zone, how do you address the critics who will say there are environmental concerns, there's the issue of how the harbor is used, the city's say on these things? How do you address those concerns if you're really altering the table here and making it so that you're in charge?
Well, we always focus on environmental issues, and we're going to be working with the First Nations community. We take all that into consideration, but we can't just sit back. We have to start moving. You know, we're under attack by President Trump on a daily basis. Our businesses are under attack, our communities, and the people are under attack. So we need to do everything we can to focus on expansion, creating more jobs, 23,000 construction jobs, and tens of thousands of other jobs, no matter if it comes from tourism or people just flying in.
And have you got the federal government agreeing to this expansion project, and are they going to use their similar legislation to speed it up as well? And do you have a date when this will, how faster will this be? Yeah, well, we do have the federal government support. They realize that it's going to create many jobs and economic opportunities, but it also, it's all about convenience. Taking the load off Pearson, making sure we have competitive pricing so you'll be able to get lower cost flights rather than waiting in line at Pearson, paying top price on airline tickets. This is going to be a very competitive atmosphere, and it's all about supporting the people.
Premier, to follow up on what Jeff was saying, what's the timeline like? When will the runway be extended? We know that next year it's being the runoff zones are being added, but when would the runway be extended so that jets could land here?
Maybe I'll pass it over to the Minister of Transportation. First of all, Robert, happy birthday. But when they're talking about birthdays, I thought they were talking about Holly on my tour team. So you share the birthday with Holly. But let me
Birthday, Holly.
pass it over. Are you collecting your old age pension yet?
Soon.
Okay.
Catching up to you.
Thank you. So the expansion for the runway along with the jets will be led by the team here at Toronto Port's RJ and his team. And that will happen over the next couple of years. We'll get to work on that almost immediately, as the Premier said, following all the environmental consultations as well as the Indigenous consultations. But we're going to get moving with this as quickly as possible, and recognizing that this is really important for the city, not just for the city of Toronto, but the province and also for the country. So RJ and his team have done incredible work already leading up to today and this conversation that we've been having. They've been good partners to the surrounding neighborhoods as well as the city, and that's going to continue to happen. But we're going to get working on this right away, and over the next couple of years, we'll have that in place.
And to the Premier, at City Council, there's a motion by the local councillor, which is supported by the mayor, or at least the mayor seconded it, expressing concern about the city being overridden, basically. So are you saying to City Council it's your way or the highway kind of thing?
No, what I'm saying, this is long overdue, and this is the exact reason we're doing it. They don't want to create more jobs. They don't want to create economic development. They don't want to create a competitive environment and convenience for the people of Toronto. But they forget, this isn't an airport just for the people of Toronto. It's an airport for the people of Canada and Ontario. That's the difference. That's why we're taking it over, because we need to compete every single day against the U.S. and President Trump, that we're under attack. This is going to create economic boom. It's going to create 23,000 jobs on construction, tens of thousands of jobs on tourism, and people coming into our city. So that's the reason we're taking it over, because of that attitude, not to build anything. But that's typical from the lefties down at the city of Toronto. I'm used to those guys, believe me.
Hi, Lorenda Redicop with CBC News.
Hi, Lorenda.
Hey, so when you were recently asked about these special economic zones, I'm paraphrasing here, but you basically said that they weren't needed because people were working together. So what's different about this case?
Well, every single project is different, right? Some you have partners that are willing to cooperate and move forward. In this case, obviously, the city of Toronto is very closed-minded. They don't want economic growth. They don't want more jobs. They'd rather keep everything status quo, keep the little cow trail going down the street, leave it alone, don't do anything. We take a different approach. We want to create jobs and economic opportunities for the people of Canada, Ontario, and Toronto. So that's the difference. When needed, we will use it.
The plans to post-secondary have upset a lot of people, not happy with the changes to OSAP. Is there anything you're taking a second look at now?
Yeah, you know something, there's still 25%. We're middle of the pack in the entire country when it comes to grants, making sure that our young students take proper courses that are going to be in-demand jobs. On top of that, the colleges and universities have an excess. I don't know the exact number. That was $1.5 billion for grants as well. Plus, the federal government can provide grants. So they're well funded. On top of that, we had two choices. Either the college university system collapses, or we ended up giving them more money to a tune of $7 billion each and every single year. That's a massive number, $7 billion of taxpayers' money. We've increased spending by $6.2 billion over a 3-year span. So we saved the sector, and now the students are going to be able to have world-class universities and colleges to go to.
Hey, Premier. Aidan Shamandi from Toronto Today. I just want to go back to the federal government's role here, because they have been waffling a bit over the last few weeks. So I just want to be abundantly clear. This is going forward. There's
Yes.
no issue with the tripartite agreement, 100%.
That's right. As far as I'm concerned, in my conversations, we're moving forward, and we're working with the Trump tripartite agreement.
And then just on the question of compensation, you had mentioned that the city of Toronto would be compensated for their stake in the land.
Yep.
And then also down at the Portlands, there's a big development happening. If jets come in, the flight path would lop off the heights of a lot of those towers. So I'm wondering, will developers be compensated if anything like that happens? And then if this, on the city side, present value or value with jets?
Yeah, no, what we're going to do is we're going to evaluate the property and make sure that they get their fair compensation on top of their operating costs that they're going to lose. About $5 million a year will compensate for them. And as for the condos, they're doing it on purpose. I've never seen a group like it. So they want to block the runway, so they're building tall apartments and condos. That's not going to happen. I'm sorry, this is a crown jewel. It's a crown jewel for economic growth. They don't want to see economic growth. They'd rather see it deteriorate, just similar to Ontario Place. They just let weeds and dandelions grow up. We're building a world-class destination that people from around the world will be able to land here and go to the attractions, no matter if it's a sports game or the spectacular Ontario Place. And that's the difference. We're making this a world-class city. And we're no longer settling for, well, it's okay to be in last place. It's okay to be 24 out of 25 cities in North America that have an old, decrepit convention center, to be very frank with you. But they're okay with the status quo. And we aren't. We want to grow. We want to be number one in everything that we do. We have the greatest people in the world, and we need to start moving forward and telling the world how great Ontario is, Canada, and Toronto.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Charlie Pinkerton from the Trillium. My first question is either for the Premier or Minister Sarkaria. Late last week, your government proposed its Northlander rideshare pilot. So I'm just wondering if this was designed and expected to benefit Uber, which I'll note is a major client of your campaign manager's lobbying firm. And in either case, what is your government going to do throughout the expansion of rideshare services along Northlander communities to protect taxi drivers from having to go work for these companies where studies have shown they tend to earn less?
Well, isn't that great that we brought back the Northlander, giving tens of thousands of people in the North an opportunity to hop on the train, make multiple stops, and come to the city of Toronto? Let's remind everyone the previous Liberal government canceled that, left the people destitute. They actually called the North a wasteland. We don't believe it's a wasteland. It's an economic opportunity right across the board, no matter if it's the Ring of Fire or the Northlander, which are beautiful trains. I've been on it, and get from point A to point B when they don't have transportation. So if you have any comments there, Rob?
Yeah, just with the specifics to the rideshare pilot, I think we have many regulations across the province in different municipalities. So this pilot was just to streamline from a perspective of any rideshare company that wishes to operate. There are many unique rideshare companies outside of whether it be Uber that operate in northern municipalities, and those also want to see expanded opportunities in different cities. So this would just regulate and bring in a set of standard procedures for operating for rideshare companies across the province.
All right, and then for the Premier, tomorrow there's a protest planned at Queen's Park against your government's OSAP changes. Do you plan to meet with the anyone involved with the protest? And in either case, what would you say to the protesters against those changes?
Well, let's be pretty frank. Yeah, there'll be a few OSAP folks, but there's going to be a lot of QP and OPSU workers. They're sitting there protesting while the taxpayers are paying their salaries. I have to question that. And, it's a shame. There's a lot of great OPSU workers, great QP workers. I differentiate between labor and labor leadership. And labor leadership and those two unions are absolutely terrible. All they want to do is fight with the government rather than cooperate and come up with ideas. It's a real shame that the taxpayers are going to be paying for people to come and protest. Taxpayers' money to protest the government that's given taxpayers money. Ironic.
Premier Barbara with QP Briefing. Why did you have to push the city out of this agreement? Wasn't it possible to work with the city on this?
No, you just, Barbara, thank you for that question. You just heard. They don't want this airport to move forward. They don't want 23,000 jobs in construction. They don't want tens of thousands of jobs in tourism and visitors coming here. They do not want it. They don't want to build anything. They don't want to build the 413. They don't want to build highways. They don't want to build anything, nothing. Ontario place, leave it alone, leave the airport. Let's be last place in everything. That's the mentality of the left. And we see where that got us, right? Between the provincial Liberals and the NDP, they destroyed our province, totally destroyed it. Now we're getting onto the world stage. Everyone's hearing about Ontario. PDAC, the largest mining conference in the entire world, was jam-packed. They know we're leading the charge. They know we're leading the G7 when it comes to our small modular reactors. We're creating opportunities in the environment for companies to come here and invest, and they'll prosper and grow. That will employ more people. That's the difference between our government and the other folks there.
Thank you. I was hoping to hear both from you and Minister Bethlen Falvey on this. How close are you to getting a deal with the feds to scrap the HST for all home buyers, and when do you expect to announce it? It will be only in the budget, or?
I'll pass it over to the minister.
Well, thank you for the question. You know, with regard to housing,
about someone's health or family issues, which I get 1,000 a day. I'm behind 6,743 as of right now, but they want that information out in the public. There isn't one person in Ontario that wants their personal information exposed. That's number one. Number two, when we have confidential conversations, just like the federal government, just like, let's say, Quebec or Saskatchewan or the other provinces, that should be confidential. Once we implement the policy, it's open to millions of people. And again, we're just following the exact same process as the federal government. So maybe I recommend you start knocking on Ottawa's doors or knock on all the other doors of the other provinces and ask them why they've done it. This legislation hasn't changed since 1980, before computers, before cell phones, and things have changed. Do you know what we did? We took too long to do this. We should have jumped on board with the feds and all the other provinces, but we didn't do it.
That concludes our press conference.
Okay, thanks everyone. Can't wait.